This is going to be a short podcast, but an important podcast is that we do something called the Spanish roast case. Basically, the Spanish roast case it's an estimation case, very simple. It's sort of a warm-up exercise. It is actually a warm-up exercise that we do with clients at the beginning of the call just to get them thinking in a numerate way. So the case is very simple. Estimate the market size for Spanish roses in Spain. I don't really expect candidates to fail this case, to be honest. I don't expect them to cause trouble for themselves in the case. But quite a lot of candidates make one mistake that I think is going to hurt them really badly. They always say the percentage of people buying roses in Spain are men. They just talk about the male market. And I always look at them, but do women not buy roses? Are women not empowered? Do they not have credit cards and cash in Spain? And I always point out to them, that assumption is going to get you hurt if you're introduced by a female who happens to take offense to that. When you do a case, people always worry about saying things that sound racist, and as you should. They always worry about saying things that are ethnically charged, which you should, culturally charged, religiously charged, but for some reason, people take sexism quite lightly. And I do understand that in some cultures, with some of our candidates, in their culture, it seems normal to make these assumptions, but you are not interviewing to work in your country and your culture. You have to be very careful of making these kind of assumptions, which seem so innocuous. When I tell the candidate, do you know why you would have failed this case? They say no. And I say, it has something to do with sexism. Can you figure it out? They'll say no. I say, well, why did you assume only males are the target market? What about females? And they'll say, well, women don't buy flowers. And it's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard, right? You cannot make these small little mistakes that are going to hurt you. So a short podcast, but just be careful of making sexist comments because you'll offend someone. I find it offensive when people say things like that. And it's not because they're meant to be offensive, but I worry to myself, you're making all these assumptions, Did you just make the assumption because it's a mistake, or did you make the assumption because you really do believe that in your world, women are not going to be spending money on anything? It may not have been made with ill intent, but I worry with someone who has such poor business judgment. Have you never seen the purchasing power of women? Have you never read reports about how women are the largest untapped purchasing market in the world? If anything, they're probably the largest market, period. So be careful of making these sexist comments. People do it all the time in cases, but they just don't realize they're doing it. It will hurt you. You will fail.